If you're a high value man and you're living that lifestyle, you're not gonna have time for a woman. That's just that simple. If you're working on yourself, you focus yourself on that, then how can you have time to be texting all the time? How can you always be there for that woman when she wants you to pull up because she sends you that text of, hey, what are you doing? Or can you help me with this? How could you? You couldn't because you're too busy. And that's where fellas need to get to, being fully driven and invested in themselves. Today, as you guys can tell by the title, we are going to be talking about the #1 way to text a woman to get her that you want. And basically, in general, I know a lot of times with the texting game, I feel like fellas have a hard time due to miscommunication, which is the first aspect, which I would say is that, like, you say something and she takes it the wrong way. And then the next part of texting a woman, the unfortunate part is like there is no other way to text her but showing her that you're not that interested in her, because texting is literally just texting, and that form of communication is nothing compared to actually being physically with her. And that is what I would recommend you guys to do. Don't depend on texting ever. But because texting is just as simple as sending that message, it does go ahead and lead a lot of women to not have interest, not wanting you guys. So with this video, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you guys this #1 technique strategy that literally works every time you guys do this to text a woman, and of course make her be interested and want to know more about you guys, because you're not giving her enough. So please stay tuned, give this video a big thumbs up. And so I'm actually going to jump right into the #1 thing. I have a whole lot of explaining to do. So the #1 thing is going ahead and always making sure that she is priority #3 or up. So this whole texting idea, now I have points to get into. This whole texting idea, though, it's about making her understand that she is not #1 priority in your life, not #2 and not #3. But if she is #3, oh, you got lucky to be #3, and then it's always gonna be up, never less than #3. Okay, so this whole idea, the first aspect is showing a woman that you are fully dedicated to yourself. I feel like me saying #3 is honestly reaching. You should show a woman that she's just not important in your life, because most times these women are testing your buttons. They're trying you, right? And so when they are trying, guys, don't mind the vacuum in the hallway. They're cleaning out there. I hope it's not like disrupting anything. But when women are texting you, they are trying to prove a point to themselves, as in, okay, well, I'll text him when I want to, or he's always going to be available. And so the priority thing that you guys don't, kind of like pay attention to, you guys end up looking like a simp just by texting her the next day when you said you're a busy guy, and then she's talking to like 10 different guys and they're never actually available for her. So you also have to remember the types of women that you're dealing with. What types of guys are they dealing with? If they're dealing with men that are going to be always busy, that means you're going to actually have to be just like those guys, because she understands that guys that are high value, let's say this for her specific, type of guys that she deals with, they always are working. They never have time. So when you stand out, and you stand out in the bad way now, it's because you're showing that you're too available. And sometimes fellas think that their role is to now show that you can be, or it could happen, or should. No, women nowadays with the modern day, they want it tougher. The tougher, the more they're enjoying it, the more that they want to see more of it. And a lot of times, due to their pride and ego, they do have a point to prove themselves, right? Feeling like they are that top female, or they feel really good for who they are, which would be a high value person, right? The vacuum is going again. At least I know next time not to film around this time. So let's go ahead and move on to this first thing that I have to say that makes it so important when you guys make yourselves to be the first priority, and then make your goals. And that is the first part. Your goals have to be #1 in your life. And so why I said that you have to have 2 other priorities, right? She will be #3, right? You have this first priority of being the #1 in your life, having that purpose in your life, and being the full driven thing that makes you want to go and get things done instead of a woman, as it would be for a lot of men, will prove a lot of points to a woman of how they can't just get you. They can't just text you and hit you up, or that you're just not available. A lot of times women know how much they have, full capability of having a man, right? So my next aspect, when I talk about you having your purpose set, most times your purpose, you might just feel in the moment that it's the job that you're doing, right? The life that you're living, you have a job that you go to every day. You have a certain type of specific lifestyle. That just being said, you fellas having that, it's enough for you guys to have that being your number one priority. The next thing we'll talk about in a second, it's important to have purpose, and then the next important thing will matter. But when you have your purpose, it will prove enough that you have value in your own life and you are heading towards the right direction. Now in the modern day, I feel like a lot of fellas don't also understand that you could want a woman so bad and she can look the best, but in all reality, you still don't know the types of men that she is dealing with. And sometimes a lot of women are actually dealing with less value of a man than some fellas out here, which could be you expect. So that's why I always make it important to say that you always have to treat her based on what you want. Treat her based on how you feel about yourself, because you're not going to get less than. Because sometimes you guys just go based on her beauty and that, okay, you know what, this is going to win me over. So back to your purpose and making that the number one thing in your life, it's going to be down to, because you understand your priorities matter when you're showing this woman that you don't care about her, but you're more invested into yourself and what matters more so. And I say more so because you have to make women understand that they're not important. This is the whole idea. Through texting, when you're texting her, you guys make a woman feel like she might be more valuable or she has a chance. If you make things clear, such as, okay, I don't have the time, or I'm not going to make the time with you, then you're not going to have the problem with women. You're going to have most times a woman saying, okay, well, when can you make the time? Or, okay, hit me up when you can. And then the girls that don't have the time for you, they'll just say flat out, nothing, or I don't want to deal with you. So you have to make sure that you're always doing things, because this is who you are. If you're a high value man and you're living that lifestyle, you're not going to have time for a woman. That's just that simple. If you're working on yourself, and with this number one thing that I was just talking about this whole time, you focus yourself on that, then how can you have time to be texting all the time? How can you always be there for that woman when she wants you to pull up because she sends you that text of, hey, what are you doing? Or can you help me with this? How could you? You couldn't, because you're too busy. And that's where fellas need to get to, being fully driven and invested in themselves, where women can never be the number one because that priority can't be brought up as the number one. You guys have so much other things going on in your life. It's as simple as, like, you can't make time for her because you do not have time for her. Okay? Your purpose is going to be the number one thing, the first thing, and that's just that simple. If she's gonna have a problem, and now before we move on to the last point that I have to touch on, if she's gonna have a problem with how busy you are, if she's gonna have a problem with you being the guy that's not always there, and I say not always there because when she texts you, you don't follow through, or when she tries her little games of, let's say, texting you back so late, or making you, and I'm not saying making you because, she literally made you guys, but a lot of you guys have too much feelings invested and you don't realize it. But I'm talking about when you double text her twice, right? Sometimes it gets to that point where a woman will make you double text her twice, obviously because you like her. You did it because yourself. She didn't force you. But just in those circumstances, a woman will put you in that due to her own personal needs, once again, right? But when we follow up with you guys making sure that you have your purpose set, if you have that set, you have nothing else to worry about when it comes to this woman, because she will get that she can't be that number one, number two. And if she's becoming that number three, you still have more important things, and that will make her understand that, hey, you're not as important as you think. Okay, so my last point, which is going ahead and having a fit life. So fellas, if you guys did not get the concept of this video, you are making her not feel as important as she thinks she is. A lot of times women will already feel important based on the simple beauties based on beauty and the things that, like, they have that makes them feel important, that gets the men, right? And it's always gonna go back to beauty, and then maybe she has more to bring to the table, right? So just moving forward, and if you guys are not getting, I'm talking about maybe education or whatever else men are into, maybe cooking, cleaning type of thing. So that aspect, you guys, I want to wrap up to say that if you have that going on where you have a fit life, first the purpose that I was just talking about, but you have the fit life, you're going to the gym, those are the things that matter the most to women, that woman will start getting that, okay, well, you are actually that guy. You are more valuable than she was putting you in that category. And this is the part where men don't understand. Women will put you in a category based on how they feel about you. Sometimes it's based on what you've given them, based on, you know, what the display is of how you are or what type of man that you are. But ultimately, fellas, if you don't message this woman, text her as in you are that guy that can't be texting. If you don't text her as in, okay, well, I'd rather be on the phone because texting takes too long, or I just don't got the time, then you're gonna be treated that way. And then also you're gonna have a harder time if your shit doesn't back it up. And in order for your back it up, it means that, okay, well, you are on your purpose, like I was saying, but you are on a fit light. Now, this whole other aspect of actually looking attractive and this whole looking good because you're on the fit life, I'll touch on probably in a different video. I've talked about it before, but I just don't want to really go into it because I feel like the whole fit life, make it important in your life, but that's just looking the attractive part. It's more so being busy and then having the priorities set straight in your life and having a healthy lifestyle. And that is all in types of different ways, where it starts with inside, working on your inner self as a fella, all the way down to your personal life. Okay, so fellas, you have to always keep it moving. So I will just go ahead and wrap up with this for this video because, you know, not everybody been watching my videos or know what I talk about. So I'll say this to wrap up, is that the next aspect of just being fit, to keep it brief, you can look attractive, you will look better, most definitely, but it's also a lifestyle. Just to have a routine every day, just to care about yourself, same way that you guys find attraction when a woman does go and, you know, maybe get her nails done, her toes done, those type of things you fellas like. Those type of things for her to keep herself in check. And I promise you guys, there's gonna be way more videos about what you guys can do to help yourself keep in check as well. So those things that they do, these women out here, the ones that you guys want, the things that they do to keep themselves in check, if you guys are not doing as well, you're never gonna be better. And most times, and it shows that you're not better, not only physically because, hey, maybe you're not really taking care of yourself, but also because your lifestyle has given you enough time to have for a woman. You actually live a false lifestyle of a high value man, and that just might mean that you don't have, basically, and I know it sounds really rough, but I gotta be honest, but you don't have no life. If you don't have no life and you're always texting her, that's all you have time to do, then that's all she's gonna treat you as important for. A man that only has time to text and is probably not doing much with his life. So when you guys add value to yourself, you're doing it because you're giving value in your own life that causes more value. But it might mean that you don't have time to give. It might mean that you have to be completely dedicated to yourself. And it also might mean that that woman has to feel like she's not important. But that is the things that works, especially through texting, because she doesn't know how else to get closer to you. That form of communication, if you move correctly, you'll get that. You can minimize it where she has to reach out to get to you. Now she has to find ways that, okay, well, I don't like texting because you never had time to text me. I don't want to text no more because, well, you text me late. You guys will be so afraid to try these things or do these things, but you're going to have to do it if you're really living that lifestyle. So I hope you guys get this video about if you live that lifestyle of actually dedicating your whole life to yourself, in a sense of like, okay, you're focused, you know the real goals, the end goals, and what should matter the most. You have no worries as far as dealing with women and worrying about like, okay, you know what, she's feeling like I'm a simp, or I never had time for the important things in life, because you have it straight and she can only see that because that's how you're treating her, and that is based on her actions. And that's why I said you always have to treat it as at least the third priority or more. Okay, it's all a lesson that we all have to learn. She doesn't want to learn it, but hey, she put you through things, or maybe, or women will try you and test you. You gotta make sure that you're playing this game correctly so you're not getting played. A lot of times, and last thing I'll say is that fellas don't get, well, elaborate in a different video, if you just do these things in the beginning, or maybe like just sooner than later, it'll work out where you'll have her continue to text you, or you'll have her double text you or text you again. But some fellas just feel like, okay, well, it's not gonna work like that, or I can't, or it never did. Okay, so I'll elaborate just on that aspect of, that's just showing how not confident you are, and a whole bunch of stuff that will never work with trying to get that text, trying to get her through texting, however or whatever you guys like. Okay, so I really hope this video was helpful. If you guys want another part of this video or have any questions, leave it down below, and make sure you check out my other channels, links down below. You guys see me in my next video. Bye guys.